となると、財産権どころか、家督争いにも食い込む気満々ってことになるで。
How's it going, everyone? My name is Michael SK, and welcome back to Umineko When They Cry, Episode 3. We're still here post-dinner with all the adults, all the siblings, and their partners, arguing, bickering, and discussing, the whole inheritance deal. But, unlike Episode 1, because I'm pretty sure Episode 1 continued to go in the direction of just thinking of the inheritance and completely disregarding this letter, they are now considering the details of the letter. More so, they're considering the possibility of there being a 19th person, where they could be hiding here on the island, if anywhere, if that's even feasible, or if one of the 18 are maybe responsible here. But they are more likely, or more so, going for the likeliness of the former, that there is somebody here. If it is somebody actually named Beatrice, whether or not they're a witch, they are just considering this, and they're also looking back on Kinzo's past, just sort of seeing, if he actually had a thing with somebody else, right? So I think good conversations to be had here that are different than what we saw out of Episode 1, where they continued to be on the idea of inheritance, and nothing else. They completely disregarded this letter and everything with it. There we go. Exactly. Yeah, sorry that we're in the middle of this.
仮にその愛人が後宮家に序列を得ていたとしても、その序列はお父様の血を直接引かない以上、子供に劣る。
Yeah, but if it is actually somebody, well, yeah, a mistress, yes, but let's say if it is technically another sibling from this mistress or something like that, yes, either case, they're going to be lower on the ranking system. However, this is Beatrice we're talking about, and Kinzo, who is one for going with the rules, especially with what we saw here in the prologue of Episode 3, he's willing to break the goddamn rules as well.
つまり、序列はローザより一つ下ね。とても家督争いに加われるようなレベルじゃないわ。
そういうことか。魔女の碑文を解けば、序列に関係なく家督が告げる。
Regardless if you're even a family member as well. It is just fair game all around. The revival of the Ushiromiya family was made possible by the gold Beatrice had bestowed. That was quite a distinguishing service that she had provided. She had built that wealth together with Kinzo, so it was natural that she would think of herself as the one who should inherit it. It would also be natural for her to despise the thought of giving it up to the children of the wife Kinzo never loved. Yeah, that's actually, that's also worth considering.
仮に愛人が実在したとしても、当主継承権を争うなど、身の程をわきまえぬ暴挙です。なんという身の程知らず。
Natsuhi turned red, her fist quivering. She just hates this conversation. It doesn't matter what direction we go in with it. Even if it is just straight up talking about the inheritance or not, she's just not a fan. She had also come into the Ushiromiya family register due to complicated circumstances. Those who knew that understood more or less why she was so angry for the sake of Kinzo's dead wife.
まあ、その暴挙のおかげで、私たちにも公平にチャンスがあるわけなんだけど、ね。それにお父様はこの暴挙を黙認されている。
Yeah, that's how you want to interpret that.
後宮家を継ぐのは愛人ベアトリーチェか、愛はなくとも血を受け継ぐ私たちか。それを争わせて確かめたいというのでしょうね。
As Ava giggled roguishly, Kraus shrugged his shoulders and looked away.
でも、その条件を向こうが出してきたということは、向こうは十分な勝算があるということじゃないのかしら。
I mean, it is her gold to begin with.
それもそうや。
Supposedly she lended it to Kinzo.
ベアトリーチェはあの手紙の文面通りなら、お父さんの顧問錬金術師、つまり黄金の管理者や。
There we go.
その隠し場所を知っていても何の不思議もないやないか。 こらひどい話やで。答えを知っている謎々を出してきたも同じや。
This sounds a little familiar, doesn't it? This is this is quite literally the situation that Battler is currently in.
これでシャーシャーと現れて、これが答えや。家督はいただきやで、なんて言われたら、わしらすべてかっぱらわれちまうわ。
Beatrice comes in with such an advantage, basically is set up to win any game no matter what.
そうね。謎々の出題者は常に正解を知っているものよ。これは私たちから全てを奪うために作られた罠の可能性が高いわ。
そこまで考えると、そもそも彼女が本当に黄金を持っているかどうかは怪しいと思わんかね。なぜ我々にその存在を教える。黙って着服すればよいもの。
God damn it, Kraus. I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to egg everybody on a little bit and really keep up the facade that he doesn't know anything, but he found something.
確かに。
We know that he knows that something's out there. That certainly was the case. If the epitaph showed the way to the hidden gold, why would she challenge them to try and solve it? If they actually did solve it, wouldn't the gold all be stolen from her? Could it be that this person was trying to stir the siblings up so they'd solve the epitaph and then plan to steal it away at the last second? It was an extremely logical possibility.
いいえ、
You know, I feel that there's more to it than just solving a riddle here. I think there's more to all of this than meets the
チ
eye.
ェス盤をひっくり返して考えれば、黄金を実際に持っている可能性は低くないかもしれない。
どうしてそんなことが断言できるのよ。
待て姉貴。キリエ。続きを話してくれ。どうしてそう思うんだ。
だって私たちは魔女の碑文なんていう謎々の答えを教えられたくらいで、本気で後ろ宮家の家督を明け渡す気？謎々の答えに感服して降参を？
そらまあ、それもそうやな。
Yes.
謎々の答えを教えられたくらいで、わしらがあっさり降参して、
No, this
家
is
督をはい
perfect.
どうぞと渡すかっちゅうたら、そら甘い話やな。
In any game like this, you need to have a grasp onto something. You know, you can't have the rug that you're standing on be pulled from underneath your feet. So I do think that that's actually reasonable. And a lot of this actually does connect some really good ideas for a sense of realism in this story. Something that I've kind of been missing out on, or missing so much of because of all the wacky and crazy bullshit we saw in episode 2 that was so hard to connect to any bit of reality.
そういうことよ。いくらベアトリーチェが一方的にこんなゲームを提案しても、そして見事その答えを示してみせたとしても、私たちは家督を素直に譲るわけもない。つまり私たちがこのゲームに対等な条件で挑まなくてはならないという、このゲームは成立しないのよ。
そうだな。負けた時、家督を譲ることに強制力を持たせなきゃ。
その強制力というのはどういう意味だね。我々を鎖で縛って家督を譲るよう脅迫でもしようという。
Careful what you say there, Kraus. Be very careful.
なるほど、ね。
No, it's the straight up inheritance. It's the goddamn money. It's
私た
everything.
ちが喜んで家督を放棄したくなるようにすればいいわけね。なるほど。ならば確かにベアトリーチェは10トンの黄金を持っていなければならない。
Of which she supposedly does from what we've seen in two separate cases.
わしにもわ
There
か
are
った
some
ね。
gold bars about.
つまり取引っちゅうわけやな。
どういう意味ですか？取引？何を？後ろ宮家の家督と隠し黄金をよ。ベアトリーチェはきっと10トンの黄金の所在を明かし、それで後ろ宮家の家督を買収するつもりなのよ。バカバカしい。
I was thinking more so just to avoid there being a problem in whoever wins the game.
栄光ある後ろ宮家の家督をお金でやり取りしようというのですか？冒涜です。後ろ宮家への冒涜です。怒らずに聞いて。
Oh, that's really difficult for her.
その栄光あ
So
る後ろ
fucking
宮家
difficult
に
for
は
her.
今どの程度の財産があるの？私たちはそんなにも裕福なの？裕福の定義とは財産で決まるのではありません。心の持ちようで決まります。 私たちの財産状況が一体何の。
Yeah, you can't pay the bills with heart. Kraus interrupted Natsuhi as she started to go on and on emotionally. In this situation, the more she went on like that, the worse it would actually sound. Yeah, it was sounding pretty shit.
お前たちの状況は芳しくないと聞いているよ。
あらそう。兄さんの財政状況だって相当に芳しくないと聞いているわよ。
Yeah, honestly, everybody's fucked in their own
次
special
々
way.
担保に入れて新しい博打の掛け金にして負けを認めないために次々新しい博打に手を出して内情の話をしたらこの中で兄さんほど火の車の人間は存在しないわ。どれだけ損失を出してんのよ兄さんは。才能ないのよ。
All right, we're going back to the previous conversation.
急にこと書き、火の車とは。
But this is what I'm here for. Natsuhi became indignant once more, but Kraus raised his hand again and interrupted her.
多少の誤解があるようだ。ビジネスは定価で判断できるものではない。私のような長期的視野でのビジネスともなると、時に短い単位期間では一見大きな損失を出しているようにも見えるものだ。
兄貴、裏は取れてんです。今は見栄を張ってる場合じゃない。
Yeah, no one's is, really.
つまりキリエはこう言いたいのさ。俺たちは全員が全員金に困ってる。そしてベアトリーチェは10トンの黄金を持っている。
So let's play her
ベアトリ
game.
ーチェは自分だけがありかを知る10トンの黄金で私たちに家督を売らせるつもりなのよ。10トンの黄金の価値はどのくらい？
Again, I really do think it's less of a trade and more of like,
ざっと
you
見積
either
もって
figure this shit out or you lose everything. It's a bet.
いいえ、200
It's a
億。
gamble that everybody has been put into regardless of whether they wanted to or
私
not.
たちは歓喜して彼女を次期当主に認めるわ。
That's how I see it, especially from the bullshit that we've gone through so far. It's what it appears to be. The scene returned to silence. In fact, the rain and wind felt even noisier now. It was probably the sound of the windstorm racing through the insides of their minds.
冗談じゃないわよ。多少お金を積まれたくらいでどこの馬の骨とも知れない女に家督を譲るなんて。
アホ抜かせ。もともとお前に家督なんぞいかんやないか。わしらは何も失わずに金だけをもらえる話やで。そら損得感情が必要やろが聞くに値する話や。
That is fair. You know what? I'm kind of missing something into the idea of them thinking that there was a fair trade to be had here. No, this is a game. It really just is a game. You know, literally in the story and outside the story, because it's also a game here for Battler and Beatrice looking in. All of this is a game. It's a game going even further outside. Here I am sitting down playing the goddamn game. They knew that Kraus had eaten up much of the Ushiromiya family's assets. So it was dregs that remained of the inheritance versus the cost of being accepted as the head that Beatrice would play. It was a shame, but honestly, the former was less enticing than the latter.
まあ、4等分とはならねえだろうな。次期当主を降りることになる兄貴に取り分が多くなるのはやむを得ねえだろうよ。羨ましい話だぜ。
あなた、金額の問題じゃないでしょ。不甲斐ない弟たちはお金で後宮家の栄光を売り払うつもりなのですよ。ここで長男の威厳を示さずして何とするのです。
夏希、しばらく黙っていなさい。
God damn, I knew it was gonna happen eventually.
あなた、
こりゃあクラッとくる話だぜ。俺たちは兄貴から2億半ずつ引っ張ろうと思ってた。もし魔女様が俺たちに10トンのうちの1割も弾んでくれたなら、
20億ね。
ああ、俺たちは当初の見積もりの10倍も弾まれちまうことになる。そんだけあれば俺たちは十分だぜ。
Hell yeah, I love it when greed is what pushes you
どうせ後ろ宮なんて名前に
forward.
未練はねえんだ。喜んで売っ払ってやら。
10トンすべてを提供してくれるかはさすが。なるほど。私たちにとって魅力的な話になるわね。私たちはベアトリーチェなどというよそ者を弾き出すために兄弟同盟を組もうとしていた。しかし彼女の目論見がこうならば私たち兄弟の団結はバラバラにされるわ。ええ、今こそはっきり断言できる。ベアトリーチェの手紙の目的は 私たちの結束をかき乱すことなのよ。
Okay, so if that definitely has happened, where do we go from here? Do we try to continue with the original goal, or do we try to shift our focus towards Beatrice? Everything has changed. God damn, she's so smart. If the three younger siblings, she being Kirie, well, I guess Beatrice can be too, but if the three younger siblings who never had anything to do with the inheritance were paid enough money to satisfy them, they would happily accept Beatrice as the next head. A moat had been dug all around Kraus. In that case, the negotiations would be one-on-one between her and Kraus. He tried to look strong, but Kraus's financial and political situation was extremely weak. He might bluff in front of his siblings, but on the inside, he was considering entering negotiations depending on the sum of money involved. In order to bury his losses, Kraus had taken advantage of the fact that Kinzo had shut himself up in his room and had embezzled Kinzo's personal assets. Well, there we go. Therefore, when Kinzo died and the inheritance was distributed, Kraus's situation would probably be investigated. But if he gave up his seat as the head to Beatrice, she would also receive rights to the assets, and as a result, the distribution of the inheritance to the siblings would not occur. In other words, Kraus's embezzlement might not have to be made known to the other siblings. Of course, the siblings were frightened of Kinzo, but it was doubtful whether they still actually respected him as a father. Yeah, I don't know. By this time, they each had their own families, their own wealth, and their own lives. And their own problems. If they were paid enough money in exchange for Rokkenjima, the wreckage of Kinzo's dreams, there was a significant likelihood that they'd relinquish the Ushiromiya family name. In other words, Beatrice's victory was already guaranteed in this game, not as the winner of Beatrice's game, but as the winner of Kinzo's game. Kinzo once ordered that the epitaph be put on display, and until today, no one had solved it. So Beatrice solved it. In other words, this is less of a game and more like Beatrice's declaration of victory. Aha, okay, I see. However, Kirie still thought there might be a catch. I'm now seeing the connection of this possibly being a trade. If this was a declaration of victory, Beatrice would only have to display the gold openly and state her intent to buy the inheritance. And yet, she had gone to all of this trouble telling the siblings to try and solve the epitaph. Why did she set up this new game where she agreed to hand over all the gold and the inheritance to the epitaph solver? Kirie tried spinning the chessboard around several times. She searched for the sort of ideal strategy Beatrice might be after, something that could lead to this kind of thinking. In the end, she reached a single conclusion. And that is...
おごりなのかしら。あるいは遊び？
何の話？
I mean, yeah. Given the personality of Beatrice, the witch that we know, she's bored. You know, she wants to play an enticing game.
魔女は気分を解いて
And
み
when you're
る
a
と
little,
私たちに挑戦状を送ったわ。
when you let your guard down for the sake of thrill, for the sake of some sort of excitement here, well, you open yourself up to an attack, to the
どうせ解けない
possibility
だ
of
ろうと
losing.
高をくくってるでしょうけどね。でも何万分の1かの確率で私たちが解いてしまう可能性もあるはず。
She has created a simple goal, and there might be a simple solution, but it might be so simple that it's going over all of our heads, including
何
mine.
しろここにはお父さんの血を
I
引
think
く
there's
子供
more
が
to
4
it.
人もいるのよ。
I think it's more than just solving it.
出題者の血縁者が4人も揃い、財産を奪われまいと死に物狂いで知恵を出し合ったなら、偶然にも謎が解けてしまうこともあるかもしれない。
The reason the witch had a superior position in negotiations compared to the siblings was that only she knew the location of the hidden gold. But if that hiding place was exposed to someone other than her, the witch's advantage would crumble.
つまり魔女の手紙に書かれている挑発文はベアトリーチェにとってリスクにしかならないのよ。確かに兄弟の連帯を分断するという効果はあったけれど、それを狙うためだけにわずかとはいえこのようなリスクを？私は不用心だと思う。でもね、ある種の感情を念頭に置いたとき、このリスクは理解可能になるのよ。
What is that emotion?
それがおごりだというの？
ええ、そうよ。
Okay. I mean, yeah, when you let your guard down, you could argue that that is a stupid decision. That's stupidity at work.
圧倒的な優位に立つと人はおごるわ。すると
There
敗
we
者
go.
に対し、
Yep.
その優位性をひけらかすために微小なリスクをわざと背負うことがある。
But this is Beatrice as we know her.
適度なリスクは
Well,
勝利
from
の
the
喜
bit that
び
we've
を
learned
引き
about
立たせ
her.
るスパイスだもの。リスクなき勝利ほど退屈なものはない。
わかるわ。私もそういうのよくわかるわ。
ベアトリーチェの手紙の真意をもっともらしくいろいろと解釈してみたけれど、実はこれが真実かもしれない。あの手紙の裏に潜む感情はおごりなのよ。
Arrogance, huh?
おごり。
難解な
I
日
mean, I'm
々
down
が
for it.
お前たちに解けるものかと
I would probably argue the
私たちを
same.
見下して威張り散らしたいのよ。案外ひょっとすると碑文はお父さんじゃなく彼女が作ったのかもしれないわね。
上等じゃないの。碑文の謎が解けるか。
Oh, here we go.
もしも解いたなら私を当主にしてくれるのね。解いてやる。魔女の挑戦を受けてやるわ。他の間抜けな兄弟たちに解けるものか。私一人が解いて、私こそが後ろ宮家を引き継ぐにふさわしいということを証明してやるわ。
Yeah, nobody's going to be wanting to work together here, but it actually was brought up slightly at the end of episode 2. The, man, what if we all just worked together to solve the epitaph way before people started dying? Because that would stop everything. The pain would be over, but the pain has not started yet.
その
I hate
挑
to say
戦
it, but Ava is most likely not dying tonight.
私が謎を解いてやる。
She'll be around longer than I wish she would be. But here we go. Finally, the attention is actually brought towards the epitaph to actually solve it. That is what we'll get our solution from. In their case, they just really want the fucking money. They want the headship. They want everything to work for them, to be in their favor. Anyways, what's going on here in the purple realm?
なるほどな。魔女じゃなく、ベアトリーチェという名の愛人が島に存在していたわけか。つまり、人間は18人以上いる。ということは、18人全員に不可能だから、魔法犯罪である。という図式は崩せるわけだ。
I mean, even in the beginning, I thought, there could be somebody else, we just don't know.
これは大きい情報だぜ。
There was always the possibility of just someone there. Fuck the whole magic thing, though. Oh, hello.
失礼いたします。マトラ様。紅茶とクッキーはいか
God
がですか
damn it, you and your fucking cookies. God damn, I forgot that we're calling Beatrice by her nickname, too. Beato's butler, who called himself Renove, appeared out of nowhere. A plate set on a silver tray that he held was filled with delicious-looking, steaming black tea and cookies. I really don't like this guy's smile. For some reason, it doesn't look like a smile used to warmly greet a guest. It feels like he's mocking me somehow. I don't know if he really takes me for an idiot, or if it's just a joke or something, but it's really irritating me. I don't know what sort of
いらね
vibe
えよ。
I have of this guy yet.
俺は今取り込み中なんだ。放っておいてくれ。
おやおや。
I know that there's some people that now simp for him. You know, glad to have come across all of that, but don't worry guys, I will hold myself strong. I will not simp for him. I'm simping for Genji,
それは美味しく焼けたクッキー
and
な
I'll
のに
keep it that way, or at least I'll
とても
try.
残念です。
We'll see what happens.
人間ごときにはもったいないくらいに素敵に焼き上がった。それは素敵なクッキーなのに。
気が向いたら食ってやるぜ。その辺に置いて、とっとと失せな。
さようでございますか。それではそのようにいたしますよ。冷めてからお召し上がりになって焼きたてを召し上がらなかったことを存分に後悔なされると良いでしょう。
What a statement.
いちいちうるさいやつだな。まあ、耳元で気色悪くケラケラ笑うベアトのやつよりゃ数段マシだがよ。
Yeah, I wonder, does he have his own sound effect?
いえいえ、まったくお嬢様の笑い声は時折実に品があります。それを聞くたびになぜ私ほどの高貴な悪魔が
Honestly, yeah.
あのようなものを主にしなければならないの
Well,
か。 理解に苦しむのでございますよ。
The rest of that I'm not really sure about, but no, it definitely is weird for the character that we've seen so far that is Beatrice to, you know, she just goes crazy sometimes.
変なやつだな。
Yeah, that is true.
そんなに嫌なら使えなきゃいいだろうが。
それでもなおお使いするのが家具の喜びなのでございますよ。それでなくては家具は務まりません。それはさておき、ゲームの方はいかがでございますか？
Well, it's proceeding.
先ほど良い情報を見つけたようなことを言われ、お喜びになられていたようですが、さてさて、どのような朝知恵が思いついたやら。
Yeah, thanks. As Renove mocked me and giggled, he followed my earlier words literally and placed the black tea and cookies in a random spot nearby.
お方、19人目の存在に自信を深めたからでございましょう。
I don't know. I mean, even thinking about the events, thinking back on those events of episode 1, I feel like there must have been somebody else. There just had to be, because in so many cases people had alibis. But then episode 2 comes along and we're seeing a whole bunch of wacky shit where alibis couldn't really be confirmed because perception is such a huge thing in these games, and Higurashi definitely taught me that. Other visual novels also taught me that, but here, you know, learning and definitely taking a little bit from Higurashi, we can't really take everything we see at face value here. So it's really hard to tell what is really going on at times. Even going back to episode 1, where everything looked okay enough.
ああ、いいぜ。どうせベアトの前で改めて言うしな。隠す必要もないさ。いいか、この島に隠し屋敷があって、愛人を住まわせていたらしいんだ。となりゃ、俺を苦しめてきた18人なのか19人なのかって疑問は簡単に決着する。
I do like the idea that I had of there being a, I guess an association with the other servants, that they're actually assisting with this 19th person, maybe? And you know what? That's something I want to have as a prediction. I'll have to notate it if I remember, but I strongly believe that the other servants that are employed with this family, because there are others, there's just, you know, only some that are here for this weekend. I think there has to be something to do with them in regards to the possibility of a real-life 19th person on the island.
マトラ様は魔女を否定するくせに、18人の中にも犯人を求められないダブルスタンダードの袋小路に。
I mean, does the culprit have to be one of the 18? I guess the culprit could be one of the 18, but also there could be a 19th person. It could be a mix of both.
18人全員のアリバイはそう簡単には揃わない。常に一人くらいはアリバイの脆い人間が生まれる。
No, this shit's hard.
俺はそいつを生贄にすることで常に魔女を否定し続けることもできるだろう。しかしそれは断固拒否する。ああ、ダメだぜ。全然ダメだ。18人はみんな俺にとって親たちや親戚たちやいとこたち。
Well, wait, there's also the
そ
servants.
して
Yeah, there
真面目
you
だ
go.
ったり面白かったりする頼もしい使用人の人たちだ。
I guess if you had to continue to suspect even a single servant, it'd probably unfortunately have to be Goda.
俺はその人たちの誰を生贄にすることも許せない。かつて俺はその決意があやふやだった。だからその心の弱さをベアトに疲れたんだ。
自らの弱点を認め、なかなかできることではありません。バトラ様は19人目が存在する説を槍にする。槍というよりは盾でしょうかな。いずれにせよ、これまでのゲームでの無策と違い、戦い方に指針を持たれるのは劇的飛躍と申せましょう。
I mean, we also kind of see how this is all going. Now that we're not a piece on the chessboard necessarily like we were in episode 1, and more of a spectator to a whole new course of, I guess, similar events in episode 2 and now in episode 3, we've got some experience as to how things are kind of playing out here. We know what to look for, or at least an idea.
存分に19人目を疑い、人間犯人説を追求できるわけでございます。
Yeah, we can carry that idea
そうい
forward,
うことさ。
or we're fucking wrong, and, you know, next time we gotta figure it all out again. You know, at least we have an idea.
他にも19人目が存在していたなら迷う必要なんかないトリックはいくつもある。
As long as a 19th person exists... Oh, that's the rest of what he was saying. Okay, in the very first game, Kanun-kun was killed in the boiler room. I was actually just thinking about this when I brought up that even in the first episode, there had to have been somebody else. And I had that feeling actually in this very scene because everybody had an alibi. Everybody was accounted for. One might think he was attacked by Kumasawa-san, who had gone down into the boiler room with him. Or maybe that someone who had appeared to be dead earlier was actually faking and had ambushed him, which is another idea that I've brought up. I just don't really know how I feel about that even now. Either way, it was a move that forced me to suspect one of the 18. However, by simply proposing that a 19th person existed, there was no longer any need to suspect one of the 18 for that murder in the boiler room.
つまり
I mean, we were chasing somebody.
誰にも無理だから
We were chasing someone, or at least we thought we
否
were.
定することができるわけさ。
Using this argument is easy to explain. For example, the problematic case that has already occurred in this game. Who gave Maria the letter? Even if all 18 people have alibis, I could easily explain everything by saying that a 19th person must have visited her and given her the letter. Now we're assuming that it is a woman, a mistress of some sort, and could just be posing as a Beatrice. They don't necessarily have to be Beatrice, but to Maria that worked.
とても良い一手だと思いますよ。私だったらどう切り返しましょうか。たとえバトラ様が理解されたとしても。
Oh yeah, I mean, it's just an idea, not necessarily like a fucking theory that we're trying to roll with quite yet.
18人攻めは有効な手でしょうね。バトラ様の守りがどの程度か確かめる意味でも、改めてそこをつくのも
ならどう来る？悪魔の執事。
Oh, here we go.
バトラ様が刺された19人目の駒を迎え撃つのが妥当でございましょう。バトラ様は19人目にお会いしておりませんね。
Nope.
19人目が存在する証拠をお願いできますかな？
Yep, here's our devil's proof thing again, you know? Do they exist, do they not? We have to be able to prove whether or not they exist.
アメーゼ。もちろん。その差し手で来るだろうことは読んでいる。
それは受け手をお願いいたします。
魔女だの悪魔だの。お前らにこれほどふさわしい一手はないぜ。それがこいつ。悪魔の証明さ。
Hey, I've been calling a lot of shit in this episode, or in this video here. I'm pretty proud of myself if I do say so myself. You know, I've been, you know, fearing, and you know what, maybe I am fucking stupid. Let's just assume I am. After episode 2, I felt like I was falling behind in terms of like trying to figure everything out. There might be way more hints that I'm missing out on than I'd probably want to admit, but at the same time, I feel like for the base ideas that are being thrown around here, I'm still there. I'm still on track, and hopefully something really does catch my eye. It does help to write things down to notate my predictions because something might connect later on, who knows? When you try to make some claim to humans like us, we always counterattack by telling you to show some proof. Because that's a human move. But I'm fighting with a witch. I'm taking part in a battle with someone who isn't human. And some moves exist that can only be used in a game against a witch. There are cheap moves. And that's what this devil's proof is. Because it's impossible to prove. Let's assume that there's a hidden mansion on Rokkenjima, separate from the Ushiromiya family mansion, and that a woman named Beatrice lives there. In order to prove this, one must find this mansion and actually bring Beatrice out of it. That's called actual proof in the human world. However, if we follow the rules of the devil's proof, you can't deny that she exists, even if there's no proof that she does. Because it's impossible to prove that something doesn't exist. That's right, I'm finally able to turn the tables using this devil's proof, which tormented me so much before. Those guys were always trying to force me to accept the existence of the witch with it. After all, it was physically impossible for me to show any proof. that witches don't exist and to deny Beato's claims. That's why I kept getting hit with the reckless argument that witches do exist, and was unable to counterattack. And that's why I will spin the chessboard around right now and do the fucking Fortnite default dance on it. If I can't disprove the existence of witches, then that means if I suggest that a 19th human exists, you can't deny that either. In other words, because this problematic and mysterious mistress is craftily hiding herself, it'd be practically natural if you never found her no matter how hard you looked. There we go. 100%. In both the perspective of humans and in the perspective of the witch. There are now situations that kind of are very similar, but are basically flipped here. So you can't say that your inability to find this 19th person proves that she doesn't exist. Therefore, it's impossible to deny the 19th person's existence. Beato used the devil's proof to make denying her own existence impossible, but this time it's become my weapon. If we can get away with this argument, then forget just a 19th person. This island could be full of people we don't know about, and that's actually something I've considered before as well. Thinking back to a prediction I've had, I think I came up with it around Higurashi Chapter 4, that short chapter, is that there's multiple people involved with what's going on. Maybe I came up with it in Chapter 3, but I felt like it was more, connected. Everybody had a single goal. It wasn't just a whole bunch of people that were against Hinamizawa. Instead, it was actually a team. I was thinking it was cult-like, but it turned out no, not necessarily. Here, it very well fucking could be. It could be cult-like, but more so, it can be a group of people that are trying to do something, and it makes sense for a group of people to accomplish more than just a singular person. And even if there were 10 or 100 of them, she still couldn't deny that they existed. In the last game and the one before that, among the murder scenes that showed up, there were several that were extremely intricate and must have taken a lot of effort to set up. It's really hard to imagine a single culprit setting up all of those, and whether, because this was also brought up in the last episode, whether or not there's actually those that are associated, that are a part of the family or the servant employees, or if it's actually just completely third-party people. Either way, it does make a lot more sense for there to be just a group involved rather than just one singular person pulling off all this bullshit. But then again, how we perceive things has been kind of difficult. However, if not just a 19th person, but 10 or 100 were hidden somewhere, they wouldn't be any problem at all. If they all split up the work, they could handle any job in a short period of time. Of course, doubts will naturally arise as to whether a large group of people like that could sneak around the mansion without being noticed. But those are all settled by the devil's proof. You can't deny that even 100 people were just, or 100 people there were there just because they weren't seen or noticed. Even though I'm saying it myself, it's such a stupid argument that it makes me want to throw up. However, because it's such a dirty move, it's a perfect one to use against a witch. Well, this is just my imagination, but what if about 100 suspicious men wearing goat masks were hiding in the shadows? Something like that's worse than laughable, almost like they're cockroaches. If you see one, it means there's 100 more hiding somewhere.
まあ、へりくつまみれの暴論だとは思うぜ。
I still think about what we saw at the end of episode 1 with Maria. Maria was so adamant that we're going to the Golden Land, that things are going to be, just fine, we're all going to die and we're all going to be happy. But the last few went missing. And Maria especially. But Maria had a note. She left something behind. Everything was not as it seemed. There's more going on here than we think. Similar to the epitaph. Similar to the epitaph, there has to be more going on than we actually think. But what?
俺の相手は魔女だ。そして、俺たちがやってるのはそういう勝負なんだろう。どんな暴論であろうとも。人間で説明をつけ、魔女を否定する。とにかく、この一手で俺は、二度と親しい18人のみんなを疑わなくて済む。俺は二度と、前回の失敗は繰り返さない。
Yeah, I hope you don't.
なるほど。前回の失敗を学ばれているのですね。良いことですよ。さすがに。3度もゲームを重ねると、 容量が良くなるものです。まずは自陣の守りを固める。実に堅実な処方です。
Now that we got our, defenses going, we will find a way to properly strike
な
back.
かなかの妙手と思いますよ。
Battler's a really, he's a smart guy.
まあ19人目の人物を仮定したとしても、マスターキーの本数などのように何人人間を増やしてもクリアできないトリックも残ってる。しかし
Baby steps,
とりあえずの初手としては悪くないはずだ。
バトラ様の切り札、19人目の人物という大駒、証拠はあるのかとの私の一手に良い攻防です。お嬢様のおられないところで勝手に手を進めてしまうのは申し訳ないのですが。
It's all good. I think we're fucked anyways in this episode as well, but at the end of the day, we need information, we need ideas.
私も少し面白くなってきてしまったところです。お嬢様に代わり、さらに一手進めさせていただきましょうか。
Why not? We gotta progress somehow.
来いよ。魔女だろうと悪魔だろうと相手に不足はねえ。
バトラ様の刺された一手、悪魔の証明。これは私ども悪魔のお箱でございますが、他にも私どもにはいくつもの手がございます。ヘンペルのカラスという一手は
Nope.
ご存知ですかな？
Never heard of that one.
ヘンペルのカラス？
I mean, Devil's Proof is also a first for me, but you better fucking believe I'm gonna start applying that to shit that I can't fucking argue properly with in the real world. Of course I'm going
何
to.
の話だ？
It's gonna be my version of, oh god fucking damn it. It's gonna be my version of like, no, I'm winning, you're losing, goodbye, argument over. So, what's up with you, Beatrice? Just then, that enraging laugh I've heard so many times started echoing. You gotta love it. Or hate it, I don't know. Everybody has some sort of emotion when it comes to it. The room was filled with dazzling golden butterflies, and in the center of that whirlwind, the Golden Witch appeared.
これはお嬢様、おはようございます。
わらわのいないところで何やら面白そうなことをしていると思えば、ヘンペルのカラスか。なんとも笑える懐かしい一手よ。
Yeah, what is it?
よもやバトラに披露する日が来ようとはな。それは悪魔の証明に並ぶ古典的一手だ。
Oh, I need to know this then.
ロノウェイ、それはわらわが指す一手ぞ。わらわの楽しみを減らしてくれるな。
出やがったな、ゲラゲラ魔女め。相変わらず下品に笑いやがって。こいつもお前のこと。笑い方に品がねえって陰口言ってたぜ。
You're just gonna say it. You're just gonna say it right there.
それは心外な。本当か？
めっそうもない。心より尊敬申し上げているお嬢様に、この私めがどうしてそのような陰口を申せましょうか。
Okay, so he's a goddamn liar.
よくもシャーシャーと言えるもんだな。お前とは仲良くなれそうにないぜ。
まあよい。話を戻そう。ヘンペルのカラスは実証を待遇的に行ってみせる。
Basically, okay, Devil's Proof, you cannot actually prove something because, well, it's too difficult to do so. You're trying to have them show the opposite, but here it's just them actually providing the proof?
つまりこういう手だ。カラスが黒いことを証明するには。
あ？何の話だ？カラスが黒いことを証明って、カラスを捕まえてきて色が黒いことを確認すりゃいいだけの話だろ。
その通り。
So here it's
カ
just
ラスイコール黒いを証明すればよい。
yeah, it's just proving.
ということは
Don't worry,
黒
guys.
くない鳥イコ
I've done a
ー
lot
ル
of
カラスではない
proofs,
を証明
unfortunately.
しても同じ論法になるのがわかるかな。
One of my computer science classes back at university was a logic-based class, so you better believe I've done some proofs when it
世
came to
界
the
中のカラス
algorithms.
でない鳥をすべて調べ、それらが黒くないことを証明すれば、それは結果的に故に黒い鳥はカラスである これを対偶論法という。そなたには難しいか？
ああ、まったく。何言ってやがるのかさっぱりだ。
バトラ様、こういう例え話はいかがでしょう。二つの箱があり、片方は当たりでクッキーが入っているといたします。もちろんもう片方は外れで空っぽです。
Okay. Now I'm following. For example, here are two boxes where one has a cookie inside and, means that you win, while the other is empty and means that you lose. At this moment, it has a cookie inside equals you win, which implies that you do not win equals it has no cookie inside. When such a relationship exists, the latter is called the contrapositive. When if A then B is true, then if not B then not A is also true.
そりゃ当然だろう。
Getting a little mathematical here
もし選
too,
んだ
but I guess
方
it's
が
also
外れだったな
logic.
ら、もう片方は自動的に当たりってことになる。つまり、箱を適当に選び、当たりを引こうと外れを引こうと、最初の一手で、どっちの箱にクッキーが入っているか特定できるわけだ。
その通り。開けた箱にクッキーが入っていたなら、悪魔の証明を満たす。この箱は当たり、イコール、この箱にはクッキーが入っている。しかし、開けた箱が空っぽだったなら、この時は逆に、この箱にクッキーが入っていない、イコール、この箱は当たりではない。そしてそれは、箱が2つしかないことを前提としている限り、もう片方の箱が自動的に当たりであることを対偶的に示している。
Okay, I think I'm following along here.
ま、なんとなく理屈は分かったぜ。
It is just logic. It's logic to the end here.
毒を制するには毒。へ
Basically,
りくつにはへりくつってわけだ。
you don't need to open the other box. You can make the appropriate assumption
それで、
based on the information we have.
島には19人目の人間が隠れているに違いないから、18人全員にアリバイがあっても、それは魔女を認めることにはならないを。どう切り返してくれるってんだ？
I'm trying to think in my head how that'd work actually. Like, okay, so yeah, I mean, you'd have to prove that there isn't a 19th human. So does that mean that you do prove that there is a 19th human? Which means that it eliminates the devil's proof? Or do you have to prove that there's only 18 people on the island?
よかろう。わらわの手は教えよう。まずそなたは18人の中に犯人はいない。イコール。ならば犯人は19人目。
Which means the other one is the culprit is not the 19th person, which means the culprit is among the 18? It's just flipping it, right?
ならば対偶としてこうなるわけだ。つまり、犯人は19人目ではない。イコール。
See,
ならば
guys,
18人の中に犯人がいる。
you know, bachelors of science and computer science right here, baby. You know, passed that fucking class. It sucked so much ass because it was one of the entry level courses I had to take whenever I got to university. So, okay, no, I got it.
なんだと？それ、
そなたの指し手を逆手に取っただけだがな。そう難しい話ではあるまいに。ロノウェ、説明せよ。そなたのさっきのクッキーの箱の例えは、バトラにわかりやすいらしい。
I mean, I'm fully on board here.
それでは僭越ながら
That's pretty fun.
先ほどの例え話でもう一度ご説明させていただきます。
Allow me to repeat my earlier story about two treasure boxes, one of which has a cookie in it. In this situation, you have an 18-person box and a 19th-person box. So the cookie represents the culprit. Battler Sama, let's say you open the 18-person box. Because the cookie is not there, you have paradoxically proven that therefore the cookie is in the 19th person box. So it's not necessarily using 100% logic that just because it's not this way, it has to be the other way, but that's sort of what he's arguing. That lets us make an even more paradoxical claim. In other words, if it was first shown that the 19th person box was empty, it would prove at the same time that the cookie is in the 18 person box. It's an argument that works against him. So, yeah, let's say whether or not there is a 19th person or if there is one, if they're not the culprit, then that redirects the culprit arrow pointed towards the original 18 on the island. Battler-sama played this move in order to avoid having to doubt any of the 18, which he refuses to do. He doesn't want to do that. But it's now been used to prepare an 18-person attack. Now, I am following what you're putting down, and it is evil, but it's also really good. It's actually a really good argumentative way of going about it. Instead of just, throwing something out there, you're trying to actually use the logic of their argument against them. It's beautiful. I love it. I also took a couple of philosophy courses whenever I was in college. I was going to take like a third one, and that would have been in university. But yeah, I mean, arguments and trying to work with the logic that they're applying, because philosophy, it could be interpreted in a whole bunch of ways, because you're starting to delve into your opinions as well. Things get fun. I love arguing with people. Even if I'm gonna lose, I'm going out swinging.
つまり俺の自信満々の一手は同時に諸刃の剣でもあるってわけか。
Yeah, more or less.
その通りよ。そなたの19人目で全てを説明する一手は18人でしか説明できないことを認めざるを得ないリスクを背負っている。
No, that definitely can work against him, which is so cool. I love this. I really do. This is a fun game already, and we're only on the 4th chapter. God damn. Now things are moving in quite an interesting direction here with this episode. Definitely helps keep things fresh. But yeah, we'll wrap it up here for this one. I'm recording this during the day, so there's always a possibility of noise and everything, and I just got to be a little cautious with how far I go here. I don't want things to get too noisy, but no, this is good. I really like this one. I love it when this sort of shit pops up. It may not be the most interesting to a lot of people, but it keeps my head thinking, and it keeps the commentating going. It keeps everything moving in a direction that I just love, for whatever weird-ass reason. Maybe I am a nerd. Anyways, thank you all for watching this one. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that fancy jazz, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.